How's it going, everybody? Dino here. Um, this is kind of off the cuff. I'm gonna start this review, and it's just from what I've been reading so far. Given these characters and this person Emma Lou as she traverses throughout America from Boise, Idaho to California to Harlem, New York, uh, some may suggest in this story that she's too heavily centered on race, and to a degree agree, but also to a degree I disagree, because especially in the black community, it it definitely hasn't been very easy to accept our identity. And even for myself, it's like I've had like thoughts that are similar to Emma Lou's, where it's like, um, am I gonna get criticized because I'm this, because I'm that? And it sucks because given they keep expressing how dark complected she is, she gets looked over. She gets shown as like undesirable just for mere melanin content. And I'm glad for America today because we're a lot more informed. We still deal with this baggage, but at least we have knowledge connecting it. And so I'm not gonna lie and say I haven't been affected by colorism or even have colorist views toward the data market, because I have. It's not really something I'm proud of, but it is something that I constantly see. And at the same time, um, I recognize, especially when I'm reading this, like how not just how silly it is, but also the content of somebody's character. Now, I know that sounds very cliche, but I think the content of somebody's character really does matter, because you could be with anybody you wish to, and they could be white, they could be black, they could be whatever desirable appearances you have. And at the same time, I do want to express that appearances do matter, but it doesn't matter to that extent, because that person, I mean, you might not like a person who is a slob, and that's kind of diving deeper into Emma Lou's character, which is if she is searching for these ideal dark skinned people, ideal, actually not dark skinned, ideal fair skinned people, because it is self hatred, but it's self hatred conditioned from her people. It's self conditioned hatred by whites, and in the response to that hatred, so it's almost like hate gives birth to hatred. And this isn't, it's sad, but this theme of blackness and colorism isn't something that's too far. Even people who are famous, who don't really have much of a I don't know, but political candor. They speak off the cuff. They just kind of outwardly be honest with the people they talk to, and they say, "Well, I don't like black skinned women," or these light skinned women are X, Y, and Z, and it's just like that's stupid. Honestly, is really dumb, because how can you suggest a light skinned woman who might be from Boise, Idaho, or California, especially today? Like, yes, their colors is still there because you could obviously see them, but how do you know they're not dealing with some sort of colorism, whether it's out of ignorance, given it might be from whites, or out of ignorance that's given from blacks? We can't make those distinctions, but what we can do is help have a better culture. And I wish we could. I wouldn't know how to do that. I perhaps what is it, Jordan Peele, have black actors, dark skinned actors be our heroes, and have light skinned actors be our heroes. But because this whole fair skin propaganda has been, and it's not to hate them either, and that's what I really don't want to push, is like, how about we see ourselves as just not just human? I think we are human, but to have this love of black people, because in the colonial times, our identity was stripped, so we don't even know what tribe. I mean, we kind of do if you check your DNA and stuff. And even Home Team, I keep expressing that guy because his work has just been so phenomenal in discovering the ancestry of African Americans. And so, even with that, this new culture of the African American, the black person, can be something that's cultivated. It can be cultivated to be something positive. Even in the Harlem Renaissance, where they have expressed black excellence. it shouldn't be just a thing of, you know, colorism. Colorism shouldn't be a thing. So I can say a bunch of things about what we should do and stuff like that, but I think black people should just, I don't know, talk to each other. And I know there has been talks. There's this YouTube video that I want to reference, but I think I'll just try to reference it in the description. It's these group of ladies and they're in various shades and they're doing a book review. It's like they have a book club or something like that. I'll reference them, but they are various shades and they talk about their experiences. And I've seen from other places where even some light skinned women will denounce their whiteness. You know, even though they are very fair skinned, you know, and high yellow and all that stuff, they 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 understand that they are colored people. They understand that they are melanated people, and that they don't have to feel ashamed for it. That they're all a people, one people. You know, not just the human race, but they are black people. And to me, it reminds me of, what is it, Langston Hughes Passing. I'm in this class, and we're looking at a lot of black authors and other authors too back in that time period. But we've seen this one from called Langston Hughes Passing, and this guy, he's so light he passes for white. That's why it's called passing. And so he expresses like his disdain for essentially being accepted in that world, and accepting his role in that world, and denying the black traces, and that how is his mother's idea, and how he just wants to live in that world and doesn't want to be burdened or reminded of that black past upbringing or that descendancy, and he just wants to go full speed ahead forward in that lifestyle. And I think it makes sense, because you just want to live the best life you want to, and your parents want that for your kids. But you still have to deal with your ancestry. You still have to deal with your identity. And this is something I really wish, because I wish I could say this for whites, because when they say, you know, why does it have to be about race? It's because this concept of race has been drilled in us long term. And so it's going to take long term to get rid of that thinking, to just say we're human. That's what's going to take. And so as I'm reading this, it reminds me of the self-hatred that I am currently battling with. And it's sad, but it's still something I'm battling with. I don't like it, but I recognize that I've been conditioned into it, you know, and I acknowledge it, I see it, and I'm trying to do something about it. But just seeing this content, and even seeing past content when they refer to us just as niggers, is very tiring to hear. Is very tiring to be referred as a thing, referred to as that, like the other thing. I wanted this to be short, but I really hope it doesn't last. I hope this conversation, maybe I have a part 2, or maybe after I have comments after we're done reading this book. But it's very tough, and I still, even though I'm battling this colorism, I'm still, the lingering thought in my mind is like, even if the colorism problem is solved, what next? What's after that? What's the problem after that? And sometimes I consider maybe the character of a person, you know, like what if in character wise they were everything you were looking for? What if that person was fit? You know, what if that person, and of course, you know, you can say, oh, why should their body matter? And it's like, you could say healthiness. I don't know. I think people can have those preferences in terms of body, but even then, that goes its own path. But I don't know. I do know. That's a lot to discuss, and I don't think Emma Lou's character is an exaggeration. I really don't. I think someone who is dark complected could be trapped in this maladaptive coping mechanisms, you know, of saying I'm black, I'm darker than everybody else, so therefore I have the short end of the stick. And it's not like she's not trying to live her best life. It's just she sees it. She's been slighted plenty of times in this story, and it's like, you know, what You don't have all these affirmations. You have quite the opposite of punishments just for living, just for existing. And that sucks. That really does suck. And it's, she's trying all these bleaching creams and stuff. If you check from what I can tell, I think it's was the Dominican Republic or Public Puerto Rico. Their racism is there, colorism is there, from what I keep hearing. Bleaching creams, all these things that screws up your skin and gives you cancer, skin cancer, is rampant. It's rampant. It's sad. But I just wish, if whites wanted to understand this, I just wish they could humble themselves and just stop making comments about stuff they don't know, because that's not humility. That's arrogance. Saying, why are you guys talking about that? That's silly. Just like in Passing, the poem Passing by Langston Hughes, he said you don't have to think about race. And I think that's very true. Whites don't have to think about race. So when black people make things about race, they're just responding based off what they've been conditioned to do. And we're trying to, like anybody, trying to get through one day at a time. It's troublesome. I guess that's it. Also, shout out to Chill Hop Music. Again, I've been using this for this reading series, Chill Study Beats 2, Instrumental and Jazz Hip Hop Music, 2016. The other one was American Dream by Joey Vantes. And if you're interested, just check them out. They're great artists. I don't even know what Joey Vantes is. He could be Mexican, Filipino, something like that. I do not know. Don't know what race Chill Hop Music is. Their content is great though. Love their content. Love what they express. But that's all I got, folks. Thank you for watching, and that's all I have. Gonna be putting out that next part. I think it's part 8 or part 9, 10. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I'll get back to you guys later and move on to part 4, part 3 or part 4, one of those. And that's it. I'll see you guys later. Take care. God bless.